Please be seated. Our service is about to begin.
Okay, yeah.
Studies have shown that the people with the most birthdays live the longest. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Jersey Shore. A welcoming and inclusive faith community, we kindly ask that you turn your cell phone to worship mode. Our service is open to all, visitors, friends, members. Whether you are single, partnered, or a family of any type, we welcome you. Whether you are here in the sanctuary with us, watching live online or on demand, may our time together be one of learning and celebration. As you know, we've suggested, and some of our members have, they come in costume. As you can see in the order of service, my name is Colette Johnson, but I decided to come in costume as Mike Hanesian, who is the worship associate this morning and a member of the congregation, and currently is on the Gifts and Endowments Committee, the Road Cleanup, Writers Group, and participates in Greenlight Coffee House. Our worship service today is led by the Reverend Charlie Dieterich. Reverend Charlie was ordained by UUC SJS on September 30th, 2012, serving the congregation for 3 years. He then moved to Norfolk, Virginia, Erie, Pennsylvania, and then retired to Kingston in central New Jersey. Although no longer a parish minister, he remains active in the UU Trauma Response Ministry. Videos of today's service will be available on your YouTube channel later today. To those gathered live on Facebook, we welcome your comments as well as your joys and sorrows on that platform. Please remember that this video will be on the internet, so do not share information that should remain public. There are a few announcements. For 40 years, the witches of Bay Area reclaiming have danced the spiral of rebirth at Samhain Halloween. All are welcome to join us in the spiritual dance on November 1st at 6 p.m., but check your calendar to make sure the time's accurate, here in the sanctuary as we celebrate 4 decades of magic, activism, and healing. Together, we will mourn our beloved dead and energize the forces of renewal. Get those auction donations forms in today, last day. See Deb Dagavarian or Jessica Dunn-Safanoff, who I know is here somewhere, probably in the foyer, for more information. The Eastern Service Workers is looking for toys and, more importantly, canned foods for the needy families of our area. And I have to say this, my wife runs it. On November 9th, we'll be doing a Pomona Road cleanup. Meet here at 8:30 in the morning in the parking lot. There is a sign-up sheet in the sanctuary, at the back of the sanctuary. Join us next Sunday for a service entitled John Murray and the Winds of Change, an all-ages service presented by our Director of Religious Education, Jessica Dunn-Safanoff. We will also have a second collection to benefit the Murray Grove Retreat and Renewal Center. Come learn about the important UU history that happened just up the parkway. Welcome to worship.
This is new. Good morning. Our opening words are from the author, Annie Dillard. She wrote, "We are here to abet creation and to witness to it, to notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature, so that creation need not play to an empty house. Come, let us worship together."
Our chalice lighter today is Andrea Quigley. Please join me in reading the chalice lighting words in your order of service. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. Please now rise in body or spirit and sing our gathering hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
So this morning's service is about giving, as you might have been able to tell from the opening hymn. And because Halloween is coming, I'm going to be talking about trick-or-treating. And, that's one sort of giving. Someone in costume comes up to your door and rings the bell and says, "Trick or treat," and then they get some candy. And that's one kind of giving and getting. But this isn't the only sort of giving. In fact, philosophers over the ages have written whole essays on how do we give, why we give, what we give, and probably when and where we give. Everything from asking a friend for a piece of paper to giving someone $1 million or a new car. How we give and what we give depends on who we are. Now, one philosopher thought a lot about giving was an immigrant to the United States named Khalil Gibran. He'd come from Lebanon, an area north of Palestine, and at the time it was part of the Ottoman Empire. And he came to the USA as a student just before the Ottoman Empire began a campaign to suppress Christianity in Armenia, in Syria, in Lebanon. And while he was safe, his friends back in the Middle East were first made refugees, and then later in refugee camps, they were starved to death by the thousands. So Gibran spent a long time thinking about life and how we interact with each other, love or cruelty. He wanted to express his thoughts artistically because he was actually an artist that sort of turned into a writer out of necessity. So he wrote a novel called The Prophet, about a mythical place where people talked about their values. And one conversation in this book is about giving, what we give and why. And here's a few things he said. You give but little when you give of your possessions, but when you give of yourself, then you truly give. For what are possessions but things that you keep and guard for fear you might need them tomorrow? He knew that possessions could be taken away. And so his character, who was called the prophet, said, to give them to those in need. And then he wrote, you often say, I would give, but only to the deserving. And Gibran wrote, the trees in your orchard do not say so, nor do the flocks in your pasture. They give so that they may live, for to withhold is to perish. And maybe some people want to wait until the perfect time to give. And Gibran has words for that too. He says, all you have shall someday be given. Therefore give now, that the season of giving may be yours and not your inheritors. And then he mixes it up and says, well, who is really giving and who is really receiving? He says, see first that you yourself deserve to be a giver and an instrument of giving. An instrument of giving. For in truth, it's life that gives unto life, while you, who deem yourself the giver, are but a witness. And your receivers, and you're all receivers, assume no weight of gratitude lest you lay a yoke upon yourself and upon the one who gives. Rather, rise together with the giver and his gift as on wings. For to be over-mindful of your debt is to doubt his generosity, he who has the free-hearted earth as mother and God as father. In other words, giving is a way of life. It's our job to be free-hearted, to freely give where there is need, and to serve life itself by our giving, to participate in the world the way an apple tree participates in the world, making apples, or the fragrant spice bush perfumes the air for anybody who wanders by. Maybe someone asked you to give. What are your gifts? And you thought, maybe someone asked you to, what are your gifts? And you said, what did someone or luck give me? They gave me strength or good memory or talents. But there's another way to say, what are your gifts? What can I give to the world? You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. And that's our story for today. Jessica, there you are.
We welcome all those young people present or those young at heart to join us in our RE Learning Lab. We'll do a little talking, creating, play some games. But before we do that, we'll light our religious education lantern. Just gotta peek under here.
There we go. There we go.
We light this lantern for our children and youth and for us, celebrating the flame of faith lighted in each of us, honoring the light each of us brings into the world, rejoicing in the community we create together.
It's a trick match. There we go. That's why we got a new one. Those long stem matches are great for pumpkins, by the way. So, no.
Joys and concerns. A book is provided in the foyer in which you are invited to write whatever joys and sorrows you have as you enter. I will now read what you have chosen to write. October 26, 2025. Happy birthday, Deb Dagavarian.
21st, right?
She's finally post-pubescent. Let us hold in our hearts the 50 or 60 million Americans who stand to lose much-needed food assistance at the end of the month due to the government shutdown. Let us share a quiet moment together to reflect upon our week. During the musical interlude, you may come forward and place a pebble in the water to acknowledge a personal joy or sorrow. And our pastoral prayer will now be given by Reverend Charlie.
Let us join together in the spirit of prayer. I'm worried, watching the news, watching the rapid and unnecessary pace of change, watching money and power being thrown around, the rise of intimidation. I'm worried. I'm glad to be here with you. Annie Dillard declares that we gather together to notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature. I am glad that once again we are assembled here today. I am hopeful. I am hopeful because love is greater than hate. Rage runs its course, and people tire of its destruction eventually. But love is like an ever-flowing stream. And while we pray for freedom from fear, we know that we are not alone. As we approach Veterans Day, may we remember that the men who went into battle for liberty and justice for all knew. They knew that as individuals, they might not survive, but that love would guide our world through the dark night. I pray that we can keep each other free from despair, that we can keep each other humbly moving forward, and that our work of love warms the hearts of others, and that its message spreads throughout the whole world. Amen. Number 1, 2, 3, please remain seated.
Now, just to demonstrate that we are not all perfect, there's nothing in my script today about that song, but they did it, and they did it very well. So now I'm assuming we have the offertory. Every week, we take up an offering during our service. It's good to remind ourselves from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it is through pledges that we build our budget and fund our yearly programs and ministry of worship and religious education, pay our staff and professional religious leaders, and finance the comfort and beauty of our building. If this is your first time with us, please feel free to let the the basket passed, as your presence is gift enough. For those who are participating in line, please visit uucsjs.org and click on the yellow donate button for the various ways to donate. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday morning. The morning offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship. Our reading this morning is from Kahil Gibran's book, The Prophet. In this excerpt, a town person asks the visiting prophet to talk about children. And a woman held up a babe against her bosom and said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries in yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forward. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite. He bends with you, with his might, and with his arrow may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, and even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. And now our sermon.
So thanks for having me back. I'm always happy to come down Route 539 and down the Parkway to see you all. And welcome to the week of chocolate purchasing, pumpkin carving, spider web stretching, and odd color lighting. In other words, happy Halloween. I remember years ago I went down to Cape May to wander around a haunted maze of some sort. I think there was a parade too. So many things go on this time of year. I have a tradition of carving jack-o'-lanterns with friends and neighbors and the like, and yesterday we were pulling guts out of pumpkins with great gusto. Will they last until Halloween? I don't know. I just have to keep them away from the squirrels. So the sermon today comes from an observation I made, that one day of the year when most gifts are given is not Christmas, it's Halloween. It's true that the monetary value of Christmas gifts far outpace the accumulated values of Reese's Pieces and Twizzlers, but for sheer numbers of transactions, Halloween wins hands down. My neighbors do a little bit of one-up personship. Each year, I got 120, says one. I got 164 and ran out of candy and had to start giving away ramen noodles, said the other. It's a very odd night. I actually learned last night that somebody gave away over 70 pounds of candy. 70 pounds of candy in 2 hours. It's just amazing. I wasn't kidding about the ramen noodles, actually. I knew a librarian a few years back who would include packets of instant ramen in his trick-or-treat bowl, along with the Mars bars and things like that. And yes, kids would choose ramen noodles over chocolate. And he would usually give it all away by the time the evening was over. This past week, there was a question sent into one of those Dear Abby-like columns in our local newspaper. This one was actually Carolyn Hack's, but it wasn't intended, I wasn't interested in her advice so much as the wording of the question. A young mother didn't know what to do. She wrote, "My husband has embraced Halloween like no other because his mother forbade him and his siblings from celebrating it. He's the kid who couldn't participate in classroom Halloween parties, wear a costume, or trick or treat. His mother is deeply spiritual and believes Halloween brings out the devil." The young mother went on, "My husband says he doesn't think it's okay for me to dress our soon-to-be one-year-old in a cute hand-me-down lion costume. He says he thinks it will so profoundly upset his mother that she seriously could have a heart attack." I didn't copy any more from that. But what I did pick up on was this perspective that Halloween was spiritually dangerous. What part of Halloween is dangerous? Well, I don't know, and I can't know, but the letter did make me aware of the diversity of reactions to the holiday. I know that happy-go-lucky kids suddenly become perfectionists when picking and wearing just the right costume. Any of you ever experienced that in a kid? Just saying, it's got to be just like this. No, it's got to be just like that. And otherwise rational adults become howling maniacs or animatronic geniuses when devising decorations for the front lawn. It's a sort of a night of altered reality. It reminds me a little bit of Mardi Gras. Some of you will remember that I lived in New Orleans for a couple of years and even rode in a Mardi Gras season parade a couple of times. During that season, indeed, the whole parish seemed to be an alternate reality. When I rode in the parade, I had to go in disguise. That's the law, actually. Nobody throws beads. Nobody who throws beads can be recognizable by anyone who catches them. I bought over $1,000 worth of beads, stuffed toys, whistles, frisbees, doubloons, cups, and moon pies. And as my float traveled along the 6-mile route, I had to throw them all to the crowd. People I didn't know, people I'd never see again. "Throw me something, mister," they'd say. It was a ritual of plenty. One of 86 independent parades that happened in the parish that year. Mardi Gras might come close to Halloween for sheer numbers of gifts given, but back to Halloween. I got my stash of Hershey's and Reese's and Mike and Ike, and Friday I'll be handing them out to whatever creature comes by. Robots, Sasquatch, dinosaurs, witchers, maybe a devil or two. I don't discriminate. Maybe you'll be doing that too, or maybe the kids don't come around like they used to, is what you'll be saying. And you'll sit all night eating the chocolate and feeling useless. I hope not. Bring some of that in next Sunday, and somebody will say thank you. So here's today's question. Is Halloween a religious holiday? Well, sure, for some Christians, it's preparation for All Saints' Day feast, or like the mother-in-law in the advice column, a night to fear devils stealing souls. Or Celtic and neo-pagan celebrations of Samhain will occur that night. But for millions of Americans, it's giving or getting candy or ramen noodles. But what's it all about? If we aren't summoning or honoring all the saints of the dead who weren't good enough to make it to All Saints' Day, then what are we doing? I think the magic's in the giving. Giving candy, yes, but also giving children and adults the right to be their dreams for one night. To a princess or a ninja or a taxi cab or a Tyrannosaurus Rex, as a responsible adult, I get to interact with them as they appear. They are a princess or a dinosaur. And this whole thing is much bigger than Mardi Gras. Halloween is a nationwide pageant, and everybody can play a part in it. I included the reading you just heard on children because Khalil Gibran had an interesting perspective on children and a respect for the fact that their journey to the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams, is an interesting way to think about kids. We who are adults will never go to the house of tomorrow, but we can help them on their way. For a kid, Halloween is an adventure into the unknown, into fear, wonder, an electrifying adventure. Perhaps you have a Halloween memory of your own that taught you something good or bad. Gibran's chapter on children has a great observation. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. The creatures at your door are not the Joneses' children or the Parkers. They are the children of life. And the Mars bar you give to the family of life. When I looked up Gibran's chapter on children, the very next chapter was on giving, so I included some of that in today's wisdom story. The prophet was very down on possessions. He wrote, "For what are your possessions but things you keep and guard for fear you may need them tomorrow?" And he gives us an image, which I didn't include in the story, of a dog following a group of traveling pilgrims. Each night the dog is thrown the bone from the evening meal, which he carefully buries in the sand. And each morning the caravan moves on towards the holy city, leaving the bone never to be retrieved. And he says, you give but little when you give of your possessions. It's when you give of yourself that you truly give. And there are those who have little but give it all. There are believers in life and the bounty of life, and their coffer is never empty. And then he lists three different motivations. He says, giving with joy returns joy. Giving with pain, and this might be, for example, giving away the puppies that you have raised. He says, giving with pain is a baptism. And the third motivation is like the myrtle bush, which simply breathes out fragrance because that's what it does. An apple tree gives fruit simply because that's its life. The prophet explains, through the hands of givers such as these, God speaks. That's one perspective on giving. Another rumination on giving comes from a 12th century rabbi, Maimonides, often called Rambam, who wrote a book explaining the Torah for the current observant Jews of the day. The book of Deuteronomy contains a commandment, actually it's a mitzvah, a call to obey regarding assisting one who has become poor. The giving is called tzedakah, and it's like a generous gift to a charity, and it isn't like a generous gift to a charity. It's a religious obligation to empower others. A religious obligation to empower others. I'm probably explaining this poorly, but the part that impressed me was Rambam's 8 levels of giving. And I'm adapting the words that originally came from the Jewish Community Foundation here. You can satisfy the mitzvah even if you give reluctantly, not enough, and with regret. There we go, done. Or you can give your gift graciously, but less than one should. It's the second level. Better to give what one should, but only after being asked. Or better, give enough and give it before you're even asked. Those are 4 levels. They all made sense to me. But then Maimonides' list gets interesting. He says, the 5th level, you give without knowing who receives it, although the recipient knows the identity of the donor. But you may also give to someone in need without making your identity known. For example, at dawn, you leave a bag of coins in their front door. Now, the 7th level, you may work things so that you give without knowing whom you are giving to, and the recipient does not know from whom he or she receives it. Think of this as if you paid into a fund for someone to go to college, but you don't know who, and the student doesn't know who paid for their tuition. You're not rewarded with the pride, which kind of messes up the mitzvah here. You're not rewarded with the pride of seeing your student graduate. And the student is not burdened with the obligation to be thankful to their benefactor. In this way, the world becomes a better place, free of obligations. And then there's one level higher in this mitzvah. When you help another to become self-supporting by a gift or a loan or by finding employment for the recipient, when you partner with them and work with them so that they become self-sufficient. At this highest level, you are not just giving a gift, you are giving life. A 12th century rabbi speaking to observant Jews, and yet we too, 9 centuries later, even our ears can hear this teaching. Returning to the prophet, the book The Prophet, there are those who give with joy, and the joy is their reward. And there are those who give with pain, and that pain is their baptism. And there are those who give and know not pain in giving, nor do they seek joy, nor give with mindfulness of virtue. They give as in yonder valley a myrtle breathes its fragrance into space. Through the hands of givers such as these, God speaks. So we come back to Halloween, a ritual which has long shaken free from any particular religion, a ritual like no other. What level of giving is it to decorate your house for anyone who drives by? What level is it to disguise yourself before you distribute candy to your neighbor's kids? Or maybe one child comes in a robot costume, flashes a lighted sign that says "Trick or treat, deposit below," and you insert the Snickers into the slot and it runs off, whoever it was. If you're distributing candy this Halloween, ask yourself, as I give out a gift, am I bragging about my generosity? As I give out my gift, do I demand sufficient gratitude from the assembled dinosaurs and princesses? Or do I give out gifts? Am I seeing the flow of life coming past my door? And am I at peace with my place in the family of things? Happy Halloween. And what an appropriate closing hymn. Come sing a song with me, number 346. You may rise as you are feel moved. We are here to abet creation and to witness to it, to notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature so that creation need not play to an empty house.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you for our choir, which is taking over the lead of music today and doing it quite well. The Reverend Charlie's sermon reminded me of something that occurs in nature. And it's perhaps best exampled in our area by the blue jay. The blue jay winters largely on acorns. And of course, living in the pine barrens, that's a pine oak forest, and lots of acorns in a decent year. The acorn eats what he wants and then buries the others. And it has finally been determined that no, they don't know where they're all buried. So why is he wasting his time? Well, he's not. Because the ones he doesn't find are the ones that are planted and will sprout and will not provide food for him or her, but will provide the food for future generations. So I think Charlie had a very good sermon, but it also emulates what happens in some aspects of nature. Extinguishing the chalice. Let us read the words together for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Cynthia on the piano and Dave on the EWI, electric wind instrument. We warmly welcome all of you who are visiting today to share the coffee and snacks with us afterwards. And before we go to a moment of silence, remember, common sense is like deodorant. Those who need it the most rarely use it. Now let us share a moment of silent reflection to consider today's message and the meaning it has in our lives.